This is like the opposite of a puzzle where it's just magically all these aspects of beautiful people appearing. Wonderful, wonderful.
Ismail, how
Hello.
good to see you. Are you healthy again?
Yes, I am. Hopefully, I'm reasonably better than I was. Thank you. Oops.
That's good. Well, you certainly look good and healthy.
All right. Well, let me see what something happened here. Where did my image disappear to? Oh, there it is.
Oh, it'll be
There
back.
it is. I'm back.
This thing switches the people around just to cause confusion, I think.
I think so.
It's good to be with you all again, and Vint, wonderful to see you again, and to meet new people and see Freud again, and well,
It's good. And
let's get started.
somebody's device beeped, so I will take that as our.
That was me. I'm sorry. It was telling me that I'm 10 minutes away from another meeting that I have to start.
Oh, well, that's good, because you're up in literally 2 minutes. So I will now officially start, and I will tell you, as you've probably already guessed and that you're probably already used to, we're obviously recording this, and it will be made normally public. So thank you for being here today. I'm so glad to see so many old friends and to see so many new ones. Welcome. Please visit futuretextpublishing.com, which you can also see Valentina will put in the chat, where you will find a link to the program for today in a big and blue link. And the download link for the book will also be there when the book is live after this introduction. I know we're living in pandemic times, but don't forget to mute when you're not talking, and equally important, to unmute when you are talking. I'd like to introduce, oh, I scrolled here. See, that's how it is when we do it live. I'd like to introduce you to Valentina Morassa, who is my co-host. Valentina, can you do a little wave? There you are. She will be looking into the chat. I won't always be doing that. So if you have any questions, Valentina is there. But first, I'd like to hand over to my other co-host, Vint Cerf, who will present a few opening remarks for today, much like he introduces the book. Vint?
Well, thank you so much, Freud. First of all, I have to leave in about 10 minutes to go to another meeting, and then I will return. So forgive me for that. We couldn't get it all put together. I am a huge fan of this topic, partly because I believe we are shifting from our historical production of text, which is tended to be print, to a very more elaborate medium. We're experiencing part of that at this moment as I speak. But the thing that I want to emphasize more than anything is that as we move into online media and into digital media for text, we are also opening up enormous opportunities. And Freud himself has done an enormous amount to help us explore what those possibilities are. When you have computer power available to you to interact with the text, there are things that you could never do with the more fixed medium. And the thing that excites me about that is that it may allow us to consume text and to produce it in ways that we have not been able to before, to make it richer, to make it more evocative, in the sense that you can use the text that you're working with to go elsewhere to get amplification on what it is that you're reading, or to capture important points and make them available to yourself and others. You can imagine group consumption of text in this kind of online environment. We see this at Google regularly because the Google Docs can be consumed and generated by multiple people at the same time. But then there is a kind of major threat that I think looms as a result of our movement into this online environment, and that is the ability to preserve the digital text over long periods of time. Now, Ismail, who's on the call, can tell you all about how long text can last if it's on sheepskin and goatskin vellum. In some cases, it could be 2,000 years or more. And of course, there was text on cuneiform tablets, which have lasted for 5,000 years. And that was not the intent. Those things were unbaked clay tablets, but the warehouses burned down and baked the tablets, and they lasted 5,000 years. If you can still read cuneiform, they're still actually sort of useful, except for the fact that they refer to merchandise, which is long since gone. The problem is that the media that we're using today for this more online environment do not have demonstrated longevity in the hundreds or thousands of years. So the question is, how do we make sure that that longevity is in fact replicated in this online environment, keeping in mind that you may need software in order to consume this kind of digital text. And that means that the software still has to run on the machines of the day, which could be 100 or 200 or 500 years from now. What operating systems are they running? What application software is needed in order to consume the bits? And that's the digital preservation problem. It's the digital dark age problem that I keep beating my little drum about. I believe that's a very serious question, one that does require some careful thought. If we are going to preserve the utility of this digital online environment for people in the future to consume that which we have produced today. So I am frankly hoping that this group and others who are drawn into the discussion will help solve that longevity problem. Otherwise, we will have actually lost one of the most important elements of text that has been delivered to us historically, which is our ability to speak to the future. So I'm going to stop there. Frode, I turn this back over to you, and I will join you again in about an hour's time. But thank you very much for letting me rant at you for a bit.
Thank you, Vince. And now we get to the awful visual clap portion of the day. Yeah, look forward to seeing you in a few minutes. You can all hear me. I am back unmuted, right? Valentina, can you give me a thumbs up if you can hear me? Oh, lots of thumbs. This is such a friendly group. It's amazing. I expected you to intimidate me, but instead you make me feel warm and happy and lovely. Not many people can see text. It's too ubiquitous and boring. And hey, we have undo and blue links. What more could we possibly want? Look over here, AR, VR, and AI is where the hip kids are, people say. Yes, these are also important media. Hacking away to evangelize the importance of developing our textual knowledge environment over the years has been frustrating, since I think it's pretty obvious how important it is. But generally, business see it as too academic, and academia see it as too product focused. But then there's you. I am so grateful to be preaching to the choir on this today. And it's a wonderful thing to be with so many other text-minded souls. Let me just shout this from the rooftops though, since I'm on a soapbox for a few minutes. Why do we edit our documents? It is because writing is not just storage of information and communication with other people. It is because editing is thinking with text. This matters, text matters enormously. And this is why I'm glad I'm currently doing a PhD at Ways at the University of Southampton. I'm studying under the absolutely fantastic Dame Wendy Hall, Les Carr, and Dave Millard, whose only faults are that they cannot devote every hour of their day to me. They manage that miracle of teaching to challenge me while also showing the potential of my work and ideas. Therefore, my first thanks go to you. You've provided a wonderful environment for thought, studying, and dialogue, giving me Chris Gutteridge, Mark Anderson, and Paul Smart as colleagues and friends at arms. I'd like to thank my friend and mentor, Doug Engelbart. Sorry, this bit is a bit emotional.
Joanna.
Sorry, I'm just gonna, yeah, the muting thing, please don't forget. I'd like to thank my friend and mentor, Doug Engelbart, who understood me and encouraged me to pursue and focus on what he called symbol manipulation from his perspective of augmentation, which is why my work is now called augmented text. Thank you, Doug. Next, I'd like to thank Bruce Horn, who was one of the original pirates of Bandly 5, who wrote the Finder for the original Mac. Bruce took me and my idea seriously before anyone and is still an active part of the IdeaNet. Talking of nets, I have to thank Vint, who's probably not here, but he can watch the video later, for not only framing the book with his foreword, but for framing all my work for decades with support to a degree which has been my body armor quite a few times when fortune's strings and arrows were a little harsh, meaning people simply didn't think text interaction was important and interesting. Could you imagine? I would also like to thank Sarah Walton for developing the philosophy of liquid information with me, Stephen Fry for providing moral support from up on high, lifting my spirits and pushing my work, Alan Kay, who simply keeps saying, yes, you can do it. What more could anyone hope to hear? Well, apart from the beautiful mind of Ted Nelson asking questions and provoking deeper and wider thought. Thank you, Ted, I love you. Jacob Hazelgrove, who has been the actual constructor of my dream of building a word processor, author, and reader application, reader. Roman Solodnikov and his team who built Liquid in many versions over the year. Thank you both. Without your efforts, this would all just have been words, which sounds ironic, but my work is about how we interact with text, not just the text itself, as I'll demonstrate in my 3-minute video later tonight. The reader application has been updated to really provide a more augmented reading experience for the future of textbook in PDF form. Please also note that these are very fresh capabilities we've just updated today, so I would greatly appreciate it if you try the software and give me any feedback. Oh yes, it's Mac only, I should mention that. I'd also like to thank Keith Martin for helping design the book with Adobe InDesign and Timothy Donaldson for use of the Shinglewood fonts. Vint provides the introduction, and Ismail Sargeldin, the founder of the Modern Library of Alexandria and the man who calls me Abu Edgar, closes the book with his epilogue, and I thank you, Ismail. The book is a future of text initiative. Actually, it's a future text initiative, because that sounds cooler. So I'd like to thank Vint and Ismail again, and also Pip Wilcox and Dave DeRoar. Most of all, I would like to thank the contributors, including the next generation, the students. You should automatically unmute for applause or something. Maybe that's for the next version of this. Those were the thanks, and now a brief word on the goal. The goal of the book is to inspire dialogue on what text can be, and action, coding, and system developments to make incredible new means through which we can interact with the knowledge text holds. With that in mind, we are still working on printing the book onto metal and plastic for the very long haul. And this is also a primary reason for the development of visual meta, which I will also mention in my 3-minute slots. And this is the reason why all the student entries are in the book for generations to come. This is what our future saw. Maybe I should announce the winner of the student competition now. Nico Gruppen is the winner. Congratulations, Nico. There are so many windows. I can't see you very well, but I hope you're happy. And thank you all. I thank him and all the students for their work in making this book more youthful and future-oriented. Congratulations. I will now go to another tab and update the webpage. Boom. And Valentina is now in the chat giving a link to where you can access the book. But if you just reload futurepublishing.com, you will see a big blue link for how you can get the book there. The book is available in EPUB and PDF to download immediately. You can also purchase a Kindle or a printed version, as you can see on the page. Thank you, Valentina, for the link. Right. So that was the opening stuff. So this evening is about celebrating this first edition, but also to lay the groundwork for future edition. The format for today. We're scheduling 5 sessions where we will watch 3 YouTube presentations of 3 minutes each, then go into breakout rooms automatically to discuss them for 5 minutes, with a view to collectively writing a letter to future contributors. We'll then come back to this room automatically after the breakout sessions, have a 1-minute report from each group, and then we'll go to the next session. As I've said, we'll be doing 5 of these today, which is quite a marathon, but as usual, be very hardcore on the timing, so it shouldn't slip into too much time. We will close with a brief group discussion, depending on how much time we have, on this letter to future contributors. Again, please go to futuretextpublishing.com for the program, because on there's a link to the Google Doc, which you can use in the breakout sessions if you want to write notes. It's entirely up to you if you want to write notes. It's entirely up to you how you want to write the notes. We're going to do the breakout sessions automatically, so you will just be in a number and just put the notes under there. Are there any questions before we start on the videos?
Yeah.
Well, that's encouraging. Either that or you're all asleep already, which would be a record. So the first video we'll be looking at, this first set is Joris, Stephanie, and me, starting with Joris. Let me see if I can do all the sharing options properly. Sound. Ta-da. If you have any problems hearing or seeing, please type it in the chat.